Tell me if this sounds familiar. It's almost November, and for the past few months you have been bombarded by the Republican and Democrat parties, both of whom seem to scream and shout for your vote. Neither candidate really seems like the kind of person you would want in office. Both parties have ideas that seem reasonable, but the rest of their platform makes you sick to your stomach. And judging from the past, once they're in office, the candidates will probably forget the promises they made during the election. Is the best path really to vote for the lesser of two evils? Hi, I'm Jason Millis, and today I will be discussing why you should vote for third-party candidates in elections in the United States. By the end of this speech, you should be more inclined to vote for third-party candidates in future elections. Voting for third-party candidates can restore the values of the American people in the US government and can end the back and forth stall on progress the bipartisan system has created. You should care about this topic because the actions of the government affect everyone in the country, and participating in elections is a right and a privilege of all American citizens. Today we'll be discussing the two-party system, third parties, and how third parties can create a functioning government. To begin, let's talk about the problem with the two-party system. The Democrats and Republicans are in a constant struggle for power, and this ultimately keeps things from getting done. Just think back a few months to the height of the COVID pandemic. All over the country, people were struggling with COVID restrictions. This struggle for power slowed the release of the stimulus package and prolonged the struggling of many, many American families. And even if something does get done, once the opposing party gets elected, they often reverse the policies passed by the previous administration. The Trump administration reversed many environmental and civil rights policies passed under President Obama, who in turn overturned a multitude of Bush administration policies in just his first 100 days of office, as highlighted in a 2009 ABC News article. Beyond the stalling the bickering of these two parties creates, the establishment no longer serves what the people want. In voting for one of these parties, one finds themselves sacrificing beliefs to vote for one party over the other. Say you believe that capital punishment and abortion are wrongfully taking another person's life. Who do you vote for? There's the Republicans, who are pro-life but pro-capital punishment, or there's the Democrats, who are against capital punishment but pro-choice. Both of these are found on their 2020 platforms on Democrats.org and GOP.com. How can you make that choice? For some, they say it comes down to voting for the lesser of two evils. But shouldn't our leaders represent what the people truly want rather than a lesser evil? Now that we've discussed the problem of the two-party system, we can discuss the solution, third parties. And the first step in solving the two-party problem is to learn about third parties. Google the different third parties, such as the Libertarians or the Greens, and find the best fit for yourself. Past elections have shown that lower partisanship between the major parties has given third-party candidates like Ross Perot more success, as explained in a 1995 peer-reviewed Smith College article, Third-Party Voting in Presidential Elections, a study of Perot, Anderson, and Wallace. Voters disillusioned with major parties can tip the scales with their support if they just take the time to really find a party that they believe in. Next, you can spread the word to those around you. Tell others what you have found and that there are other choices outside of the bipartisan system. And finally, once an election comes around, vote for third parties. This is the best way you can support third parties. Now that we know the problems with the two-party system, and with third parties in mind as a solution, we can then see how those problems are addressed. Third parties prevent stalling by breaking up the dichotomy in the US government. Issues such as the COVID stimulus package would no longer be a bipartisan argument, but an issue deliberated on more than two views and passed on with less resistance. Voting for third-party candidates allows a compromise of beliefs rather than a sacrifice. A 2019 Oxford University article, Third-Party Politics in the United States, details third parties bringing their policies to a national level and bringing them into the national policy. And finally, it gives America a choice outside of the two evils. After hearing this speech, you should be more inclined to vote for a third-party candidate in future elections. Clearly, for third-party candidates, voting for third-party candidates can restore the people's values in the government and end the back-and-forth stall of progress the bipartisan system has created. Today, we discuss the problem with the two-party system, third parties, and how third parties can create a functioning government. The mainstream parties of the American political system continue to insist now is not the time to vote for third parties. They also bar the third parties from publicity through their control over the debate stage. For these parties, they intend that it will never be time to vote for third parties. They are scared of third parties and their legitimate chance to upset their established power. In the coming years and coming election, vote for third parties and bring true progress to the United States. As you leave now, I implore you to look into these third parties. You can find the Libertarian Party at lp.org, the Green Party at gp.org, and the Constitution Party at constitutionparty.com. Or you can look into the many other third parties across the United States. They're just a Google search away. Go to their website, choose a party, and learn about them. Spread the word.